I get shit done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.
Least likely to succeed. Ever heard that before? Guidance counselors aren't fortune tellers. Stick around to find out what the hell that's all about. I have an awesome guest that's going to share his journey. Well, a little bit of it in the time we have. We don't have all day to share his life. We're going to talk about the nuggets and what he's excited about. So hang in there. We'll be right back. Here's a shameless plug from me, my sponsor. So I'm one of several hundred business coaches around the globe, and we specialize in helping people get to where they want to get to with less stress, more fun, and more freedom to live the life that they only dreamed about. So if you have a question for a business coach, guess what? It's your lucky day. I am one. And if I don't have the answer to your question, happy to make an introduction to one of my peers around the globe. And by the way, no credit card is required, no money. It's just a conversation to see if we can answer a question for you to make your day a little bit easier, your business a little bit better. And who knows what might come out of it. You might turn into the entrepreneur success that you had been dreaming about just by starting a conversation. Again, there's no catch. You can get a hold of me at phil@coachphil.ca. As I said, I'm quite excited because I have a wonderful guest. He has lived quite a life, and we're going to hear some things about it from him today. He's known as the Attitude Adjuster. You can't attend one of his live or virtual presentations and leave with the same attitude that you came with. You will be a different person. He's a personal development expert, comedian, motivational speaker, best-selling author, and it's no surprise that he's been inducted into the Speakers Hall of Fame, an honor bestowed upon only a very few, only 300 speakers worldwide since 1977. Without any more delay, let me bring up Steve Rizzo. Here he comes. Here he is. Welcome, Steve, and thank you for fitting us in today on the Business Renovator.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to having a good time.
Well, every time we've had a conversation, it's been a good time. So I'm looking for that same kind of thing today. So we met because of the changes in 2020. It impacted the globe, and virtualness became a big thing. And we have a common friend in Mr. Gittimer.
Yes.
And, he speaks highly of you, and I've listened in on your conversations. I've read a book of yours. Was your early book? Remember, to help me remember what it was. It's not that I
Get Your Shift Together.
That was it. That one, or was one that was really
Motivate This.
Yeah, maybe it was that one.
Yeah.
But I was inspired. I heard you talk, and I bought the book right away, and I devoured it in about 2 to 3 days.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm happy to hear that we're going to talk about this at the end, but I want to plant a seed. I'm happy that we're going to be able to read some more of your knowledge, because you have another book going to be published, or is published now.
Yeah, it was just 2 weeks ago. It just was on. It's on Amazon right now. Yeah.
So the headline. Let's go back to that. Least likely to succeed. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's the reason why where I am at this point in my life. I was raised with a ton of negative labels, but when you're young and those negative labels are being bestowed upon you, you're not aware that they're being bestowed upon you until you get into your adult life. And an example is when I was in 8th grade, I was in a guidance counselor's office with my mom and dad. I was only 14 years old, and I was very anxious because he's going to prepare me for the rest of my high school years to when I get out into the world or go to college. And, he asked me what I wanted to do. And I said, I want to be a teacher. And there was a pause. And he looked at my mom and dad, and he had this stack of papers in front of him. There weren't computers back then. And he looked at my mom and dad and said, let's just say that Steve doesn't have what it takes to go to college. And uh, what I heard was Steve isn't smart enough. And I think the scary thing or the sad thing about it is that my mom and dad, as wonderful as they were as parents, they were from the old school, and they believe this man's got to know what he's talking about. Look at his title, guidance counselor. If he doesn't know, who does? So not only did I let this man tell me what I couldn't do, he told me what I was going to do. And it was that type of negative reinforcement. Then in my senior year in high school, I had a part-time job at the school as a custodian, and my main area to clean after school were the administrative offices. And I was in the principal's office cleaning, and I saw this list that was going to be put into the yearbook. They have most popular, class clown, most likely to succeed. Well, I was on a list with about 12 or 13 other people for least likely to succeed.
You know what's sad
And
about that? Oh, sorry to interrupt.
excuse me.
Is why would they even put that statement down for anybody? If
Well,
there,
the good news about it, Phil, and I'm glad you brought that up. It never was posted
oh,
in the yearbook. But the fact is that my peers put me on that list. The
yeah,
upper echelons of the students. The ones who were the brains, the brainiacs, as I call them.
yeah, yeah.
Well, they put me on that list, and I was very close to the top of that list. And it wasn't until I got out into the outside world where I had a philosophy that really signified success was for other people, and I'm definitely not going to be one of them. And that label was the determining factors for most of the choices I made for a great part of my life. And I did finally go to college. It took me 5 years, 5.5 years after college. I graduated with degrees in high honors in psychology, English education, and a master's in theater arts. And I went back to the same school that I graduated from, and I taught English for 2 years. And I was a counselor for kids with behavioral problems. And I did that for 3 years. And part time, I was doing stand-up comedy at night at the comedy clubs on Long Island. That was in the late 70s, early 80s, when comedy was booming all over the country. And
I want to go back just for a sec
sure,
before I lose this thought, because I think there's some magic in what you're sharing with our audience
sure.
today, or if they're watching it on the replay, and that is the impact that people have on our lives. So a higher authority to an 8-year-old could be a 10-year-old, or a teacher, or a coach, or a parent,
Yes.
or aunt, or an uncle. But we at that younger age, we're kind of more open and receptive and uh, influenced by anybody who's older. I mean, you wouldn't think of hanging around with a 10-year-old if you're an 8. Oh, I'm too young, I can't do that. But as we get older, I've got friends that are 30 years younger than me, right?
Yeah.
So I want to just go back to um, and how the influence and the impact of the people in our lives have on us, no matter what age they are. And it's sad that we're still in, even in today's world, people are still impacting and bullying, and that stuff is still happening. It's really sad. I just didn't want to lose that. And what I like about what you've done with your life is you're living proof. You're the proof in the pudding that we can get beyond that. But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why I'm happy you're here, is to be able to share your journey in and around that.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, because I have to touch upon then the reason why I went to college was because of the biggest inspiration in my life, and still is today, is my brother Michael, who's 100% disabled from the Vietnam War.
Mhm.
And he's the only man in medical history that ever survived, as far as experts know. He's the only man in medical history that ever survived the wound that he endured. He was in a hospital for 7 months, and I'm not going to go through that story. That's for another show. But I will tell you, when he got out of the hospital, he was only 95 pounds. He went from 168 pounds to 95 pounds, and he said he was going to go to college. We didn't think he'd be able to do it, but he did. and he graduated with these, major degrees. And he went back to the same school I went to, and he became a history teacher, then a principal, and then superintendent of the school system. But as he was going to college, he noticed that when I graduated, I'm 4 years younger than he is, and he was just got out of the hospital. He was going to college, and he grabbed me one day. He didn't like the way my life was going. And he said, "You're going to go to college with me. You're going to go to my classes for 2 weeks every day." And he goes, "And I don't want you to argue with me. Please do this for me. Just sit in the classroom." And I did. And I felt, after the first few days, I felt very comfortable. And then all of a sudden, one day, we're walking to one of the buildings. I said, "Where are you taking me?" He goes, "I'm signing you up for next semester. I'm going to give you 4 classes to take. Don't I panicked. I swear to you, Phil, my negative labels came back with a
Oh,
vengeance.
yeah.
And I had tears in my eyes. "Mike, I can't do this. I'm not smart enough to do this." He said, "You're going to do this. I know you can." And to make a very long story short, I sat there, I got into it. And because I was 5 years older than the rest of the students that were in the class, I had a knowledge or an experience of what the outside world was like. And from there, it just took root, and I went crazy with it. And then from there, as I said, I left, and then I did stand up. But all of this stuff, every step I took was because of him. It was his inspiration that guided me to find my own inspiration, to get me to believe in myself. And we were just talking about that before the show.
Yeah,
Belief.
yeah.
And if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going anywhere. So
Yeah.
then I headline clubs all over the country as a comedian, have my own Showtime special. But
That's what we were
go ahead.
talking about before. But to have a brother like that, wow, what a gift that is for you. And it doesn't have to be a brother, right? It could be somebody else. I've had mentors along the way at different parts of my life, and the ones that really made me. Well, I have an expression that I use all the time: no one cares about you until they know how much you care about them. And I've
Yep.
had those people in my life that have showed up to help me. Just maybe not to the same degree your brother's done, but there's a lot of people that helped you be you. And I'm thinking, the gift in that experience with the guidance counselor and your parents, if you can look back at that, I would say that was a huge gift, the catalyst to get you to do stuff. There is another American, Bill Bartman, passed away a bunch of years ago, but he was an underachiever, not going to do anything, couldn't, wasn't going to be able to marry this girl. You're not good enough. You're never going to go to law school. Well, he ended up being a billionaire, and he did it by doing collections, buying outstanding debt, pennies for the dollar. And he collected it, but he did it in a humane sort of way. He wouldn't even hire anybody that had previous credit collection experience because they were bullies. He didn't do that. So
Wow.
he was inspired. He inspired me, like you do with other people and myself and the other mentors. It's a different way of thinking. And, just because somebody says you are something or can't be something, don't buy into their story, because it doesn't have to be your story, right?
No, and that's 100% right. And what happens when you get that one spark and you start getting a bit of a belief in yourself, other things started happening. Like I remember in my college classes getting involved in discussions, and I didn't realize that I knew so much about life, more than I ever thought I knew.
Yeah.
And I remember professors just saying one little thing, and sometimes it's all you need from someone with authority, someone that you admire. Just say, "Hey, why don't you come into my office after hours and let's have a conversation?" And they would say things to me like, "There's something about you that's very special. There's something about you. I know you're going to make your mark somewhere, somehow in life." Things like that. And, walking out of that office, hearing that was just a little bit more empowering. But here's the thing about negative labels, and I'd like to touch upon this.
Hmm.
There I am as a national headline comedian, and I'm doing Showtime. And my opening acts were Chris Rock, Seinfeld opened for me, Dennis Miller, Rosie O'Donnell, Drew Carey. Drew Carey was my roommate when I was living in California. They opened for me, and they started getting all these breaks. And this is before they were stars, okay? They started
Right.
getting all these breaks. And all of a sudden, I'm going, how come I'm not getting a break? How come opportunity isn't knocking on my door? And I realized I was afraid to open the door. My negative labels were coming back with a vengeance. I had a fear of success and a
Yeah.
fear of failure. And I was sabotaging every break that came my way. So I went on a quest. When I realized what was happening, I said, "This is it." I went on a quest to better myself. And I read almost every self-help book you could possibly imagine. I went to spiritual seminars. I went to Tony Robbins seminars. This took years.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the belief in myself just started evolving. Ironically, the entertainment industry is so interested in me, but something weird was happening. I was no longer interested in them. And I knew my goal in life, my heart's desire was to become a teacher. And all of the crap that I went through in my life and how I was overcoming it was going to be my tool to show people everywhere. Doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how devalued you may think you are. You can turn your life around. And that's what I did. And I left stand up and I became a motivational speaker. By the way, when I left, my comedy friends, Drew Carey, thought I was crazy. He kept telling me to see a psychologist. My manager was trying to sue me. And I spent 22 years doing that. And
Right.
I just said, like I said, it took years, but I gradually did it. And I have no regrets at all. So that's what I do today.
Reminds me of the Steve Jobs quote, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You do it looking backwards. So
Yeah,
if we look back over your life's journey, all of the dots, the nodes that took you to where you're going, because a lot of people think success is A to B, straight line, phew, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Make up your mind and you just go. Well, yes, you just go, but not that way. It's kind of like that, right?
exactly. Yeah, but you know what the cool thing is though, Phil, with you and I, we know this because we're kind of up there in age a little bit. It's amazing if you're patient with yourself. As you look back, your life starts turning and you see it. There's a full circle, and you know that you needed every experience to get you to where you are today. Because if I didn't go through that crap, I wouldn't be able to help other people who are going through crap.
Yeah. And that,
It's a gift. See, that's just it. So instead of saying what I used to say years ago, why me? Why is this happening? Now I'm saying this is me.
yeah.
This is why this happened. And it's such a trip to see your life go in full circle. And you can look back and say, of course, I needed that to go here. And 22 years of being a stand-up comedian wasn't a waste. That is my foundation as a speaker. That's what I do to captivate the audience. Today, the average audience, the attention span of the average audience today is very minimal. And unless a speaker has some kind of entertaining value, you run the risk of losing their attention. So my first 10 minutes, even if I'm speaking for 8,000 people, I do nothing but make them laugh. And they
Yeah.
get to like me. Their shoulders are relaxed. And then I hit them with the message. They don't even know that they're learning. They're laughing and learning at the same time.
I love when you can add humor to the learning because it just sneaks in there. It opens up our closed mind because as we get older, it's harder to get stuff in. So I use humor, color, um, and activities to get it into their head. You said something that made me giggle inside, and I didn't want to take you off. You said crap. All this crap made you who you is.
Yeah.
I think crap helps a lot of things grow. It's like manure, and
Yeah.
with that crap gives us the nutrients, the experiences, the things that make us who we is today.
Yeah. Turn the crap into fuel. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's which is what you can do.
Yeah,
Yeah, methane. You want to use it for energy. Yeah. So, now I'm at this really happy place. And I talked to you before the show about this. Now my life is I wouldn't change where I am for anything. I live my life more on inspiration than ambition. I don't run around thinking, what can I do now? It's more like, well, you know what? Nothing's striking me right now. So I'm going to enjoy other aspects of my life, recharge my inner battery. When inspiration hits me, I go for it.
yeah. I'm at that space too. Take inspired action instead of have to action. And when I'm doing even though I still get tired, I do need time to uh, recreate. One of my mentors took the word recreation and hyphenated it. We need to take time out to recreate. And you said you're a fan of Tony Robbins, and I know he says the same thing. Take time away from what you're doing and go hang out and see something different. And when you're hanging out and seeing something different, totally opposite to anything you're doing in your day-to-day life, things there show up to solve and elevate and improve you in your traditional lifestyle, right?
Yeah, it's funny you bring Tony Robbins up again. It was at one of his seminars where that higher part of me, I guess you can call it the God part of me, uh, um, it just solidified that this is what I'm going to do. I was at a Tony Robbins seminar, and I had a pen and a pad, and he's thousands of people in the audience, and I'm captivated by the way he captivated the entire audience, and he was pretty funny. And I didn't know it. Unknowingly, I took my pen and I wrote down on the pad, I wrote down, I can do this. And I put the pen down. And then about maybe 10, 15 minutes later, I picked the pen up again and I said, I should do this. And then I picked it up again a little later on and I said, damn it, I am going to do this. And as soon as I wrote that, it clicked. There was not a doubt in my mind. I still have that paper on the wall over there somewhere, in a frame in glass. That was it. And I told him, I spent a little time with him after it, and I said, I know you don't. I know you make a difference, but you need to know what you just did for me. And it was pretty cool. And that was it. There was no doubt. I didn't know how I was going to be a speaker. Knew nothing about it. But as soon as I made the decision, this is cool for your viewers to know. When you're following your heart's desire, when you follow your heart's desire, serendipitous events come your way. Like it's just stuff, just people, connections that can guide you to get to that next level. And that's what started happening to me.
Yeah. Look at what you just, thank you for being here. I'm saying that to you, my friend, as you read that.
Yeah. Be smart. At college, even thought struggles times. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know who the LinkedIn user is.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you, LinkedIn user.
Yeah. I wish I knew your name, but thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
maybe
thank
if you want to
for
type your name in here, we'll bring it back up. But thanks for taking the time to hang out and watch us, and let us know what's happening in your thought process from things you're hearing with us today. Appreciate that greatly.
And it is all about mindset. What that person just said. It is all about mindset. If you have a great mindset, you can do anything. I find it amazing with beliefs that, and this was my problem. Everybody in stand-up comedy, all the big stars today was saying, you're going to be the next guy. You're going to be the next guy. They believe that. But the thing was, Phil, I didn't.
Right.
I didn't believe it. And as I said, if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going anywhere.
Well, we had this up earlier. Let's bring it back up because it's really a big deal to me. We're in the business of living BS, which is a good thing. It's not the other stuff that, although we just talked about that other stuff, helps them grow too. So it's all good. Depends on how we perceive it. But BS, we believe it to see it. You can't see it before you start believing it.
That's right.
And the more conviction and belief you have, and you just said that a few times today on the show, you didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. People were telling me this, but I didn't believe it until you believed it. When you were at the Tony Robbins thing, you got to that place where you actually said, hell, I believe it now. I'm doing this, right?
Yeah. It's weird how it happens. You're going through your whole life with doubt because you have that big mouth inside your head, and we all have that. Some people call it the ego. Some people call it the devil, which is maybe a little melodramatic, but if you do listen to it, there will be hell to pay. Right. That's when you're striving to achieve your goal and you put everything into it. You put money into it. Then all of a sudden a month goes by and you go back a couple of pegs, or things aren't working the way you want, or you hit a wall. And then all of a sudden that big mouth goes, see, I told you, you shouldn't have tried this. Everybody else has what you want. Every time you try to do something, it never works. Remember, you should have played it safe. And when that voice starts taking control of you and you start listening to it, you just imprisoned yourself. Yeah. You opened up the door to the negative zone, and now that's where you reside.
So one of the aspects of I'm adding and developing, I've always been, what you're talking about, you're speaking to me, I'm converted. I was converted before I met you. So when I got the opportunity to have you on the show, I go, wow, this is awesome. Serendipitously happening. I didn't know you until 2 years ago-ish. Anyway, right. I think that the changing of the way we think is the only way change happens on a permanent basis. We can be coerced into doing something, but it doesn't stick. It's done on a have to basis versus I want to, choose to, get to basis. So I've been working on becoming even better at helping my clients and future clients to get results and get out of their own way. I used to say, when I still strive to be that, is to stop under living my life. I want to live to my most bestest, mo better space. And I'm following and learning and developing in my coaching skills something called PQ, or positive intelligence. So EQ is measuring where you're at emotionally. PQ is the change in how we make it happen. And I used to have sales, marketing, and mindset on my show tagline. I changed it a little bit. I still have the sales, marketing, and mental fitness is a difference, because you talked earlier, you've been working out, you get up in the morning early, do your routine, and you exercise your body to get the muscles. So we don't spend, I'm talking about everybody, don't spend a lot of time working on this. So mental fitness is actually a way to go to the mental gym to change yourself from the 10 saboteurs we have. We have 1 judge and 9 supporting cast and 5 sages. So we specialize in helping people shift themselves. And it's a business you're into. So we're both on the same path, just doing it slightly differently.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
It's
there are so many
wonderful.
different so many different roads to the destination, you
Yeah.
know. And as a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up because yes, I do get up every morning to build my body physically, but before I get out of bed, before I take the covers off, I don't think about everything that needs to be done and what isn't working in my life. First, I shift my focus and my way of thinking, not to what needs to be done, but who I have to be in order to get it done. And rather than focusing on what isn't working, I shift my focus and way of thinking to what is working. I bless the things that life has given me rather than cursing what life is currently throwing at me. And right now, life is throwing some stuff at me. But you know what? I won't take the covers off. What I'm saying here is that I create this attitude of gratitude. It takes
Right.
30 seconds to 2 minutes to do. And what it is, it's that you promise yourself you will not take the covers off and you just start thinking about all the wonderful things in your life, all the things that you've accomplished. Maybe it's the person lying next to you. Maybe you're thinking of your children, your granddaughter, the dog lying by the side of the bed. Somebody gave you a compliment. Maybe you helped someone a couple of days ago. Friends are coming over for a Saturday evening dinner or whatever it may be. We could all find that one thing that could lift our spirits because, Phil, most people get out of bed in low moods at best. And it's
Mm,
such a terrible habit. They're not even aware of what they're doing to themselves.
yeah.
It has become a part of who they are.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they wake up, the first thing they think about is the grueling day they had the day before, all of the fires that weren't put out, the irate people that they had to deal with. And they can't understand why, when they're getting up to go to work, their energy level is way down here. I mean, think of your responsibility on any given day. Your energy level has to be cranked. And that's always your choice and your responsibility.
Yeah, you're preaching to me. I love this because it resonates with what I'm about and what I've learned as life is that journey. Harv Eker says that where thoughts go, energy flows and results show. And absolutely starting off thinking the right things,
Yeah.
no matter how crappy you feel at the moment, it will change because you've seen that young lady, old lady obstacle illusion. You can't see, you can see one, you can see the other, but you can't see both at the same time. You've
Yeah.
seen that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I like referring back to that is just like you're talking about, if we put the thoughts on the things that we're grateful for, things that we've made a difference in our lives and other people's lives, to be grateful for the opportunities it's shown us, no matter how, some, like you talked about the crap, it helps things grow. We can't think of the negative and the positive simultaneously. We can quickly toggle back and forth. But I like what you're saying to remind us to focus on the things that uh, we don't give sanction to. Stop giving sanction to all the negative BS and focus on the positive BS, which is the things that you like to do, the things you've done, and the people you've helped, and even things you've helped yourself with. Even keeping your word to yourself is a gift, right? It's something to be grateful for.
Oh, absolutely. Well said. That's exactly right. Yeah. People need to realize that they truly are the creators of their success and happiness. And what that means is it's not what happens to you that will determine your quality of success and happiness. It's really what you do about what happens. It's the choices you make and the thoughts that you have about the challenge that will make the difference.
Yeah,
Because those thoughts that you have about your challenge will in turn create the beliefs you have about it, because your thoughts always create your beliefs. The beliefs you have about anything in your life are formulated over a period of time through a consistent way of thinking. Those thoughts and those beliefs will create the way that you feel on any given day. Those feelings will formulate your attitude, and all of that, those thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and attitude will lead to a particular action that you take, and that will lead you to an outcome. And we're all in control of that. We can shift our way of thinking to focus on what life has given us, the wonderful things, rather than focusing on the stuff that we're saying is keeping us down.
yeah. What I hear in there is um, you're recommending to us to take responsibility for ourselves. And
Yeah,
I hyphenate it. That's why I stumbled because I was like, where's my hyphen? I'm not looking at anything. It's in my head. So response able. So response hyphen able. We can show up and we can respond with ability. That's why I spell it
yeah,
response that way. And that's what I heard you say was it's our choices, our decision. We're responsible for absolutely everything that shows up in our life, even if we didn't cause it. Like we may not, like if you go back to Hurricane Katrina, we didn't cause that, but the way people reacted to that was totally their responsibility. They could
Yes.
have left because they knew it was coming, or
Yep.
they could have stayed because they
Yep.
knew it was coming. And both people, there was people that did both.
Yeah. It's the same thing with the pandemic.
Yes.
You know, the pandemic, there were people that survived and thrived through that pandemic, and there were people that just lived in fear, not realizing that the fear of the pandemic in the long term, people will realize has destroyed more lives than the pandemic itself,
Yeah.
than the virus itself. And you know, when this happened, you know, the speaking industry was hit very hard.
Yes. So was mine.
No one was going to conferences, no one was flying anywhere.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, some people went out of business. A lot of speakers bureaus went out of business. Agencies quit. It hit me. I had everything canceled in 2020, 2021. But then I said, well, all right, what do I do? All of a sudden, I'm not tech savvy at all, but I learned. I bought lighting. I bought cameras. I bought everything. And then I started doing virtual presentations. And I just kept moving forward. I kept saying, what if? What if I do this? And what if I do that? And when you say what if, the answer will come from a higher part of you eventually if you keep asking. And that's what I did.
I
And
can.
I go ahead.
I was going to say I can relate to that. That's why
Yeah,
the business renovator happened, right?
sure.
I had nowhere to go, nobody to speak to, and what do I do? So I thought, well, I was kind of thinking about, well, not kind of, I was thinking about doing this in 2019 before all of this happened, and I didn't like the platforms. I didn't have the catalyst or the burning desire to make it happen. But when come 2020, okay, now I want to make this happen because all of the other ways of communicating with people, getting in front of people and networking with people and presenting to people was different. So
Yeah.
that's where the business renovator came out of that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. No, I
We
get that.
we could talk forever. I love what we're talking about. But and maybe I'll be able to get you to come back.
I would love to.
And
Absolutely. If we could do that anytime you want.
But what I want to do now is I want to go to this website. There we are. This is your website, and I'm going to click on a banner over here so that people can actually see how to get there.
Yeah, that's the website for my new book.
Your Inner Bob, right? And this is the website for us. Just
Yes, yourinnerbob.com. The book was just released not even 2 weeks ago.
Wow. How long did it take you to write it?
8 years.
Right?
Again,
How long did you to live it?
That's a great question, though, Phil. How long? Again, my negative labels came back again. They're always there, and was
True.
It was the most challenging time of my entire life. It was right when I was in the middle of a divorce after 34 years of marriage, and it just consumed me. And I left Long Island, New York, and moved to California and lived by myself for 2 years. And this book started writing itself, and it's called Conversations with Bob. It's between two characters, your inner Bob and your inner Bernie. Your inner Bernie represents every person on this planet who feels their life isn't working on some level, regardless of race, religion, social status. It doesn't matter. Everyone has that negative part about them. Your inner Bob has the answers to all of your questions and solutions to all of your problems. So that's what the book is about. Bob is there to help Bernie to turn his life around. Bob is God, by the way. How he gets the name Bob? Well, you're going to have to
read the book.
Yeah.
You can't get you can't get the whole, you got to read the book.
Yeah. If you want to show the video, can you play the video clip? Is that possible?
I can play it. I wonder if they'll hear it. Well, let's try it, right?
Yeah, let's try it.
It's not at the beginning. Let me back that up. We're going to, I'm going to even, let me push
If you can't, don't worry about it.
Can you hear that?
There you go.
Hear it?
Now watch. Now you'll hear a voice.
Welcome to Conversations with Bob. Hi, I'm Bob, and I know that you are more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Don't believe me? read the book.
Yeah, don't argue with Bob, folks.
Let me bring you back on here. Here we go.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
Hey, no worries. It's the least I can do. I mean, you shared some of your wisdom and knowledge with me and whoever's watching, and
well, look, we're very similar, Phil. We're on a mission
yeah,
to make a difference. We want to be a spark that can ignite change in people's lives. And like you said, you have your way of doing it, and I have mine. But we're both on the same team. We're both on the same thing. Whatever we can do to help each other, I think that's great. This
yeah.
book just happens to be the best thing that I've ever done, and it's the main reason why I was put on this planet. So it just encompasses everything, and I appreciate what you do. I'm thankful that you had me on the show, and yes, I would love to do it again
Well,
whenever you want.
I'm going to hold you to that, because just talking to you pre-show, and then before the show, you've made me laugh. So if it's just for that, I've got gains out of it. So I guess that's the self-serving thing, is to from my point of view.
Absolutely. Is it all right? Can I mention my show, the one that I have? Is that
Yes,
right?
please do.
Yeah, it's called Hey, I'm Talking Here. It's a streaming Facebook TV show. It's viewed, it's live every other Thursday. We just had it last night. My co-host is Eric Bam, and it's really getting grave reviews. It's a show about empowerment, about how to take you to a better place personally and professionally. And in my view, that's the ultimate success. And as a matter of fact, I would love to have you as a guest at some point. I will notify you. I think that would be really cool.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, we'll do that. And it's you can get the link on Facebook. It's Steve Rizzo. Hey, I'm Talking Here.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm excited also for the upcoming future, because Eric Bam, the man, is going to be on the Business Renovator later in May. And
cool.
I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
Hey, it's been a slice. Like I said, we could be talking a lot longer, but I try to keep this about a 30-minute show ish. And like I said, we could talk about this more. So we'll talk about some other things next time that you're on here. And again, I'm grateful that you had the time and were able to plug us into your schedule on the Business Renovator. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your time, and I totally appreciate what you do. And enjoy the weekend. Everyone out there, have a great time. Enjoy your life.
Right. And I'll have something for you at the end of the show, so hang around.
Oh, you're going to pay me?
Yeah, something like that. Wasn't that a blast? I had a blast. It was worth getting up early, because I'm a couple hours behind him. I was going to say ahead of him, but that wouldn't be right. He said in the other part of the world, east of where I'm at. Anyway, before we go, the last thing I want to do is remind you all to be this, because you already are. The you and wonderful represents you. You're unique and you are wonderful. So continue being that, even if you don't feel like it. Maybe do what Steve said. Get up in the morning before you get out of the bed. Think about some of the things that you're grateful for, the impact you've had. Minor, big or small, recall them all. I'm a big fan of the 100 success list, but that's another story for another day. But it's the same kind of premises, to make sure that what you're thinking about is serving you, not harming you. So stay wonderful. And until the next time, I'm Coach Phil. We'll see you on the Business Renovator.
I get shit done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. I'm brave.